If you're a high performer, you know this feeling all too well. You've got two great options, two clear paths forward, and yet you're completely frozen. Paralyzed. It's this invisible force that just kills your momentum, and it has nothing to do with your ambition or a lack of information. It's a hardware problem. So today, we're going to diagnose that problem and give you the operating system to fix it for good. We're talking about completely re-architecting the way you make decisions. And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it. You're not stuck because the choice is hard. You're stuck because, deep down, your brain thinks that choosing is a death sentence. The paradox is, the better your options are, the harder it is for your brain to pick one. Now look, this isn't some flaw in your character. It's literally a feature of your neurobiology. Your brain's ancient safety software is treating a modern career choice like it's a life or death situation. We're going to pull back the curtain on why it does that and how you can override that primitive script.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll name the enemy, the hallucination of correctness. Then we'll dive into the biology behind why we get stuck, which we'll call the maximizer veto. After that, we install the solution, the decoupling engine. We'll look at the neuroscience of why it actually works, give you a tangible first move you can use today, and wrap it all up with a core philosophy that's going to become your new operating system, the power of the cut.
Okay, let's start by naming the enemy, because you can't defeat what you can't define. The real enemy of your momentum isn't how hard the choice is. It's the illusion that a perfectly correct choice even exists in the first place, and that you have to find it before you're allowed to move. We call this the hallucination of correctness. And that brings us to the technical term for this whole mess, neural deadlock. This is a real biological state. When your brain sees two options that look equally good, it can't find a clear winner. And without that clear advantage, it calculates the risk of being wrong as a massive waste of energy. So what's its default response? To do nothing. It's a system override that puts energy conservation ahead of progress, and it traps you in that dreaded analysis paralysis. So why does this even happen? I mean, why does your highly evolved brain freak out with what feels like choice panic? Well, it's because you're trying to run two completely different programs at the same time. You're trying to build a massive 21st century career, but your internal safety monitor is still running a Stone Age script. And that script's number one rule is survival. To it, being wrong could mean losing resources, losing status, a threat to your very existence. So it treats uncertainty not as an opportunity, but as a direct threat. And this is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine trying to win a Formula One race, but your car's computer won't let you hit the gas until it has a 100% guaranteed weather forecast for the entire race. It's insane, right? You never even leave the pit. Yet, that's exactly what we do. We wait for this guarantee of certainty that's never going to come, while our potential just speeds right by. Look, the secret isn't finding the perfect path. It's about breaking the tie and just taking that first damn step. So, we've named the problem. Now let's look under the hood at the specific biological mechanism that's enforcing it. This is what we call the maximizer veto. It's the process your brain uses to actively shut down your momentum, all in the name of keeping you safe. And here's the glitch that traps so many smart people. You think that because you're evaluating, you're making progress. It feels productive, right? Opening another spreadsheet, reading one more article. But in reality, that's just your brain hitting uncertainty and defaulting to a simple command, get more data. Meanwhile, actual progress, making the call and taking action, feels incredibly risky, when it is in fact the only way to get real-world feedback and build momentum. You know this feeling. I know you do. Decision fog. It's that heavy, paralyzing sensation that rolls in right when you're on the edge of a huge opportunity. And suddenly, that urge to just do a little more research is completely overwhelming. You have to recognize this for what it is. Let's be clear, this is not strategic caution. This is your brain's threat system hijacking your executive function. And this just creates a vicious, self-reinforcing loop we call conditioned stasis. It starts with number one, you want more data. But, as you see in step 2, more data just creates more variables, which leads to more uncertainty. This, in step 3, thickens that decision fog. And that increased sense of risk triggers the final step, number 4, the neural veto, which sends you right back to the beginning to get, you guessed it, more data. You're literally training your brain to think that thinking is doing. And the cost of this cycle is immense. The energy your brain burns is no joke. While you are stuck in this loop, you are torching your most precious resource, your executive fuel, on one single activity, simulating failure. Your brain is running endless models of everything that could possibly go wrong. This is why indecision is so draining. It's why you can feel completely exhausted at the end of the day without moving a single thing forward. You end up in a state of execution poverty.
Okay, enough diagnosis. Let's build a solution. This is not about thinking harder, it's about installing a brand new system. This is the decoupling engine, a protocol specifically designed to break that neural deadlock and create unstoppable impact.
Think of it this way. Your brain is the hardware and your decision-making process is the software. Right now, that software is clunky and inefficient, causing the whole system to lag and freeze up. The decoupling engine is the RAM upgrade for your momentum. It's a set of clean, crisp processes that allow your brain to handle high-stakes decisions with speed and with clarity, freeing up all those cognitive resources for what actually matters: execution.
So, the decoupling protocol has three core parts. First up, the binary audit. You stop the endless comparison of a dozen options and you force a choice between just two. Simple. Second, temporal engineering. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, and instead you create urgency by setting and owning a hard deadline. And third, satisficing waiting. You completely abandon the impossible chase for the 100% perfect outcome, and instead you start rewarding the act of moving forward. Momentum itself becomes the prize.
This all sounds good in theory, right? But why does it actually work on a biological level? Let's get into the neuroscience. Because to really make this your own, you need to have what I call biological belief. You need to understand that we are leveraging the very way your brain is designed to operate, not trying to fight against it.
This chart just lays it all out. Look at this. Before you apply this protocol, your brain is just drowning in what we call cognitive conflict. We're talking like 90% of your mental energy is just spinning its wheels, weighing options, simulating failure. That leaves you with a tiny 10% of your executive resources for actual work, for execution, for creating impact. You're mentally redlining just to stay in one place. But now, look at the shift after decoupling. By forcing that binary choice, by making that clean cut, bam, cognitive conflict just plummets down to 10%. And this frees up a massive amount of neural real estate. Suddenly, 90% of your mental energy is available for execution. You get into a state of neural coherence. Your focus is sharp, it's clear, and it's aimed squarely at the mission. So, what's the bottom line here? The decoupling engine reallocates your most valuable asset, your cognitive energy. You stop investing it in fear and you start investing it in action. You go from being a slave to your own doubts to being the chief executive of the result. And this creates a powerful feedback loop. Every time you make a decisive move and execute, your brain logs it as a win, which makes the next decision feel that much easier and less threatening.
Okay, theory is one thing, but impact, that comes from application. So let's make this real. This section is your exact protocol for your first move, something you can put into practice the second this explainer is over. We are going to execute the first, most critical step of the system, the binary audit. Here's your playbook. Step 1, identify the symmetry. Take that decision you're stalled on and be ruthless. Simplify it. Name the two primary clashing options. That's it. Step 2, execute the binary shift. Set a timer for 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, you have to choose one of those two options based only on the knowledge you have right now. No more research. Step 3 is the satisficing sieve. Look at your to-do list. Any decision you've already spent more than 20 minutes on, delete it or make the call right now. Prioritize the velocity of the choice, not the perfection of the data.
And just remember the real objective here. This isn't about grinding harder or trying to force a choice through sheer willpower. This is about architecture. It's about intentionally creating the conditions for clarity. The goal is to stop the noise, that endless internal debate, the constant simulation of failure, so you can finally see the core of the issue and make a clean, decisive cut. You're not trying to fight your way through the fog. You're activating a laser that cuts right through it.
And that brings us to our final, and honestly, the most important piece of this whole thing. This is the core philosophy that holds the entire system together. It's the mindset shift that turns this from a cool tactic into a permanent upgrade for your internal operating system. This is the power of the cut. If you only take one single thing away from our time together, please let it be this. Your indecision, your paralysis, your strategic stagnation, it is not a personal failing, it is not a character trait, it is a hardware problem. You are a high-performance individual who has just been running outdated decision-making software. And this reframe is absolutely crucial because it moves you from a place of shame to a place of power. You're not the problem. You are the architect who can design the solution. And so, we end with your new mantra. Greatness isn't measured by how much you compare options. It's measured by how decisively you cut, until only the impact remains. Your new mission is to find the symmetry in your biggest challenge, make the binary cut, and then claim the momentum that you've earned. When you master this, your impact becomes an unstoppable force. Cut the symmetry to claim the impact.